All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome.
Good
I'm
evening. Good evening.
Rorree. And this is Marcus.
Yep, that's me, Marcus.
And we have Cook.
That be me. What up?
All right. So, welcome to Soft Disclosure. So, Marcus is our little conversation. So, we're having like a little 3-way, 4-way, 5-way, whatever kind of way conversation tonight. This is something Marcus and I do all the time, and we always want to invite people to it. So, Marcus, you got the floor.
Yeah, so me, Roy, Cook, and some of my other friends are always talking about all types of different stuff, whether it's the aliens, Illuminati, spirituality stuff, and all that. So I just figured this would be a good way to have all of us come on and just kind of talk and learn and share knowledge, and just kind of do it in a way to where it's kind of fun, but yet it's casual and relaxed. So, I mean, this is our first time doing it, and we're just gonna go with it and see how it goes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Right on. So, Marcus and I put it out there, and what topics people wanted to hear about. So, Marcus came up with quite a few. And everybody that I talked to liked all the topics that Marcus came up with from his survey. But, Kurt, do you have anything that you want to start this off with? Any topics or conversations that interest you where you might want to start?
Absolutely. I don't want to sound too morbid, but I'll kind of, the backstory is I can kind of remember when I was maybe around 9, 10 years old, waking up in the middle of the night, like screaming, like scared to death. And my mom came in the bedroom and she's like, Greg, what's wrong? And I was like, I'm scared of dying. So I've always had this infatuation, I guess you could say, for lack of a better term, with death. And I wanted to know, what are your thoughts? Have you ever experienced or talked to anybody or have come in contact with anybody that has maybe had a near-death experience? And if so, what does that feel like? What did they say it feels like? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
All right, Marcus, have you or do you...
I've never personally met anybody.
Oh.
Sorry, I had to duck out for a second. What happened to Marcus? What happened? Okay, so Marcus said he hadn't personally met anybody. I'll just take over because something must have happened to Marcus' phone.
Okay.
But personally, I have not. Have I met anybody that had a near-death experience? No.
Okay.
But I have a friend. I don't know if Marcus told you anything about me. Do you know anything about me?
A little bit. He said, you kind of like a spiritual advisor. We go back and forth, but yeah, he has. I know of you. This is my first time meeting you. Yeah.
Okay, so well, I know that should we wait till Marcus comes back? Because I know he would want to participate. Let me see.
Yeah. What happened? Yeah. See what's going on with him. I mean.
Okay, I'm gonna press pause.
Okay. I'll still be here.
Okay. Okay, so we are back. Okay, so Marcus, you were in the middle of a sentence.
Yes, I'm sorry. I hit something on my screen and it took me somewhere totally else, totally different, and I couldn't get back. So I just backed all the way out of the session. My bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did you?
Yeah. So I was saying I never met anybody personally that had an NDE, but I mean I've read a lot of stuff about it and like watched a lot of videos about those, but I've never personally met anybody that had one.
Okay, so I have heard about experiences and not a lot, but my friend passed away maybe a year or two ago, maybe 2 years ago now. She passed away, and it was all of a sudden type of situation. She she was diagnosed with pneumonia. So they treated her for the pneumonia, and then she was like being treated as an outpatient. And then she went back to the hospital because I guess she still wasn't feeling well. and then her organs were failing. All of her organs were failing. Bam, bam, bam. It was really, really quick. So like she went to the hospital this day, like, so that, say this is Wednesday. She went to the hospital. They called me Thursday morning and said they have to put her in a they have to put her in an induced coma to give her body a break and to stop her organs from failing. All her organs were just failing. And they realized she had this rare form of pneumonia that only a small amount of people in the world have ever had. And I don't know if they knew what the diagnosis, if they had a remedy, whatever you call it, to fix it or whatever, some medicine.
Right.
But I don't think they could get the medicine quick enough or something. And it was only like some number, under 100 people who had this strand of pneumonia. So the organs were failing. I couldn't even get there quick enough before they put her into the induced coma, because she was in Texas. And then they put her in an induced coma. And then she was in the coma for like 2 weeks, but within the first week, it wasn't going so well. And then within the second week, she had passed away. And so,
sorry about that.
Yeah, it was awful. So when I was getting a reading, an intuitive reading, and she came in my reading, and I was like, oh boy. And she was still here on this side, and she was confused, and she just didn't understand, and she just was confused. It was like she was just like, what's going on, Roy? Like, what happened? Because it was like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
I mean, you being treated for pneumonia. Yeah, pneumonia is a big deal, but a whole bunch of people get pneumonia and get over it, right? But then all the organs failing, like, what the hell is that? Probably some man-made crap that they've been testing on folk and it got loose or something, I don't know. But anyway. But she was there and she was communicating with me and she was in disbelief. And then the guide was telling me that she could go over there, like, to the light, and she saw her father who had passed, and she greeted her family and stuff, but she came back. And this was when she was in the coma. Okay, so wait a minute, let me back up, because I'm starting to remember the whole story now. So when she was in the coma, she was going to the light, and she had already seen her dad and her family, and they wanted her to come, but she didn't want to come. So she came back. And I was like, yes, keep fighting, stay, like, I didn't want her to die, but then eventually she did die. And then when she died, she was lingering around, and she was just confused and in disbelief. And then there was another reading when she was still there again. But they said, do you want to talk to her? And I really didn't, because it was too much, I didn't really want to talk, because I mean, what could I do? You know what I'm saying? Like, I couldn't resurrect her from the dead, and I mean.
Now, before she passed, like you said, there was within her, there was a moment of confusion. Was there any mentions of like pain or suffering or anything like that, or just kind of just like?
No, this
really
was after she died.
Like,
okay, so I think I did talk to her after she died, because I remember it was after she died. She was confused as hell.
Okay.
So maybe she came to me another time. I remember one time she came to me and I didn't want to talk to her, and I felt really, really bad. And I told her I'm sorry. But I did talk to her that time that she had passed, and she was confused as hell.
Okay.
But she was still here. She didn't go, And even though she has seen her father and some other relatives before, and they greeted her and they were happy and they wanted her to come, she came back. I wish it's not in the forefront of my brain, all the details of it right now, but she didn't experience pain. I didn't hear that. She wasn't talking about pain. She was confused. And when I listened to other people who talk about people who have crossed over, like other mediums who have connected with people who haven't fully crossed over. some of the first thing is confusion. Like, what the hell?
What's going right?
That's what I've heard too.
Right.
I heard that too.
Right.
It is a lot of confusion, and definitely if they died abruptly, then
You're muted for some reason. Let me unmute you.
and sometimes at first.
Say that again, Marcus.
So confusion definitely plays a part in souls that just kind of linger around in this dimension. I've even heard of situations where spirits will go to their own funeral because they'll still be lingering around shortly after their death and stuff like that. Yeah. So like a lot of times if they're that confused, they need help crossing over to the light, I guess you could say.
Okay.
I remember when I was living in Texas, I wanted to volunteer at the hospital and help people cross over. But I didn't do it. I didn't end up doing it because I would have had to get on the ministerial group, and it was just too much that you had to go through to be there and do that. But I really wanted to do that, work there and help people cross over successfully, because I do believe that people get stuck. I think they could stick around longer if they wanted to. I don't think they have to go right then and there.
Now, let me build off of that, because this kind of brings me to the point where a couple of years ago, my grandmother, she passed. Like, she had gone through the whole dementia thing. Like, she was in really bad shape. And this was around maybe Christmas / New Year's Eve. Unfortunately, I can't remember what year it was. And I had been real hesitant to go up to Philly from Baltimore to see her, because I somewhat knew the condition that she was in. And I wanted to live fresh in my mind, like, okay, I want to remember my grandmother in this light and not in this particular state. And like I said, I was kind of hesitant. The missus, she said, come on, Greg, let's go up there. We really need to see your grandmother. So we made the trip, went up, saw her and everything, came back down. And it was like, I would say maybe a week, maybe less than a week, she had passed away. Now, I say all of that to say, when you said like people, they can either choose to go over or not, how can I put it? Is there like something in the mind that's like, okay, I just need to see this one person this one time, or I need to see this group of people, or I need to see this or hear that, and then now I feel comfortable with crossing over? Does that make sense?
I feel like that's how it happens. I feel like sometimes they have unfinished business, and then they feel like they have to finish their business, and then they cross over. And I feel like there's a show called True Calling. Did you used to watch that?
True Calling?
It's TRU Calling. And it's about this girl named True, and she talked to dead people. No, I'm joking. But so she was she was a medium. So and did she work in a morgue? I feel like she either worked in a morgue or somebody she knew worked in. I don't remember. But when the spirits died, they would come call her, and she would help them do their unfinished business so they could successfully cross over. And I feel like whoever it is, the Illuminati or the cabal or whoever, part of their magic, as Marcus would share, could attest to, part of their magic is that they have to disclose everything that they're doing. So they tell us what they're doing. So they tell so the way Marcus says it and the way I hear other people say it is, for their magic to work effectively, they have to be upfront and disclose everything that they're going to do. That's why you find the deck of tarot cards that's made by the Illuminati, and it has the Twin Towers on it that fell. That's why you saw the Simpson. Like, did you know that they had they have a deck of tarot cards that was made long ago, and it has the two Twin Towers falling.
Really?
Yep, one of the tarot cards is the Twin Towers falling.
Okay.
And then like the Simpsons, they always put out stuff on the Simpsons that actually happened. And then you have like all these movies that we watch, all the alien movies, all the witchcraft movies, all the witchcraft TV shows, all of these movies about like the Ninth Gate and all these movies, they're telling us everything, but we're thinking that it is fiction or science fiction, right? So
Right.
when I see the show, so when I watch shows, I watch them and I learn. I'm like, oh, I even learn more about myself and my gifts from watching shows. Like the charm ones, I learn about different demons. I learn about different like spells or different gifts. You know, what, like the empathic gift, I kind of understood my empathic gift more by watching the charm ones, because one of them is empathic. And they had this episode where this empathic person bumped into her, whatever, to Prue or something like that. But anyway, so I've learned from these shows, and sometimes I watch the shows and movies and I'm like, that is real, you know. And so with True Calling, I was like, you know what? I bet you this is how it is, but we just don't know in our present state, since I feel like, you know, we're here and we've kind of been erased and now we got to learn everything all over again in this lifetime. So I feel like some other people know what the deal is. You know, they already know everything, you know. And with True Calling, I would say watch that to see what these people experience right after they die. Because just like they reach out to her, I bet you they reach out to lots of people. Like this lady named Sloan Bella that I don't know if Marcus has shared her with you, but her name is Sloan, Sloan Bella. She does videos on YouTube.
Okay.
And she has a website, sloanbella.com. But is Sham in there?
Yeah, I just jumped on. I just don't know how to get my picture up, but
the video started. Okay, I think you have to go downstairs, go down to the bottom and push start video. I think, is that what you do?
Yeah, that's what it says. That's it, right?
Okay,
you just tap the screen, right, and then just hit start video, and you'll pop up. That's all.
All right.
Go ahead, Ron, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's it.
So I think, so Sloan Bella. Now you might want to watch her videos because she's a medium and a astrologer, and she reads famous people most of the time.
Okay.
Or she channels famous people. So when she goes running, that's usually when she channels people. And they come in and they communicate through her, and she shares what they're going through. Sometimes she sees their death process. Whatever they show her, she'll share with her audience, right? So they don't always show what happened at death, but sometimes they do. And she describes people as being thrown out of their bodies. So like when they die, like all of a sudden, like probably how Kobe died, so they say, however they say he died. Like if he really did die like that, he probably was thrown out of his body, because that was like a jolt, you know, that was like bam, dead, you know, if that's really how he died, if he's dead. But anyway, so I think if you listen to her, you get more insight into what happens right after the death, because she does give up some of that, doesn't she, Marcus? Have you heard any?
Yeah. She's really good as far as with her channeling that she does. I mean, she definitely does a good job of describing what different people's death process was like, and even as far as like talking about like of course like who might have killed them and stuff like that. And like Rory, because then she do one with the little girl, Jean-Benet Ramsey and stuff like that, right?
I think so. I've watched so many.
Channeled her. Yeah. So she because I think I watched one with her doing one of the victims of the of the Charles Manson murders back in the 60s and
Yeah,
all that
that
type
was
of
a
stuff.
good one.
Wait,
So
and
yeah,
who is this
so
again?
Her name
it's a
is
channeler.
Sloan Bella, Sloan Bella,
Okay.
Bella. And
Cool.
she has
It's just
YouTube
YouTube,
videos. She
Rock.
also has a website,
Yeah.
sloanbella.com.
Okay.
Yeah, so I would definitely say take a look at her stuff. I was going to tell you somebody else I need to write when I think of it.
And I'm gonna just jump in real quick, Roy and Cook. As far as you go, like, have you ever thought about? Because I know that you told me that with your grandma that you sometimes have dreams about her still, right?
Bruh, this was what year? This is 2019. Like I said, it kind of kills me. I mean, I have a bunch of obituaries around, so I can't remember the exact date, but like I swear, at least 2-3 times a week, if she's not in it, I'm in the house. In North Hills. I'm in those familiar surroundings, and it's just weird. Like Kelly sometimes is like, well, you need to, go to counseling because there may be some unresolved issues between, not so much me and my grandmother, but more so the way that things have been or did take place with the family in regards to how the death of her was dealt with. Because like I
Gotcha.
said, I mean, it's nothing for me to, go to sleep and have like the weirdest dream. Like there was one time, like I remember just being in the house and somehow I wound up outside the house and I'm floating above the house and Dora's telling me to get down. Like it's always something weird. And whenever I see her, I mean, obviously I see her in a better state. So it's like she's not necessarily on my heels. I never see her in that sickened state of dementia. It's always like seeing her at 60, 70 years old and she's still, she got the crack of the whip in her still. Like
Right.
it's nothing for me to still dream about this. I mean, years later, 3,
Right.
4, 5 years later, my grandmother had been passed away. So,
I mean, well, you might want to, if you're comfortable with it, you might want to try to ask her like what she wants, and you could even maybe like set that intention just to say, hey, like next time I have a dream about her, make sure that I ask her like what she wants because it could very well be a message that she's trying to tell you, and maybe she's just not able to, or you're not recognizing it from the dreams. You know what I mean?
Now,
So
when you say ask her, do you mean like do that consciously, like while I'm just kind of up walking around doing my daily routine, or ask her from a meditative state?
I would say a meditative state, or just like as you're falling asleep. Ideally, it would probably be best, I guess, as you're falling asleep, because you're because that's when you're like drifting off into unconsciousness, and kind of that's when it's easier for spirits, in my opinion, to connect with us anyway, is when we're unconscious. So I would say preferably do it like as you're drifting off to sleep, or like around that time.
Okay. Hold on, I'm gonna put this down for a second. I'm gonna chug. I'm gonna try to find out because I just want to know for my own, my own sake what the exact date was. So I'm gonna look up this obituary real quick.
Okay, go ahead. All right, I gotta tell him something when he come back.
Okay.
All right.
And so this is my other homie, Roy Shams. He just who got on.
What's up, Roy?
This is my best friend right here.
How are you?
Shams, what's going on, sir?
All right. My bad, I came on late. Just was eating dinner and laundry and all this other family stuff. So.
I can dig it.
All right.
I can dig
it. Yeah, so I mean, I guess my biggest thing, and I mean, I've kind of run into Mark before, but not really in detail, is like my mom had passed away almost a little bit over 3 years now, and like me and my step pop haven't been close since. And we had like a rough time going at it like when she was alive, but then like after she passed, it definitely got a lot worse. It's been his peaks and valleys, and like he's I just, for me, because when me and him argue, he constantly basically tells me that I didn't live up to his expectations, him or my mom's expectations. But I've never had like when she first passed, I had dreams about her, but I haven't had any in years. And I just wondered, like, I guess if I'm going about it wrong with my stepdad, like, is that something that like my mom would tell me? You know what I mean? I know it's like a weird question because I don't, I haven't really directly asked her because I thought it would just kind of, I guess, manifest itself or just happen. But is that something where you feel, where you think it's like, should I, like Mark was just telling Cook to do, like set the intentions to ask her? Because I don't even see her in dreams anymore. Like it was only like after it happened, of course, because it was a traumatic experience. But outside of that, like I've always felt at peace knowing that she's no longer in pain and stuff like that anymore now. But the flip side of it is like me and my stepdad's relationship has just gotten more and more strained because of her passing. And like his perspective on it constantly is what weighs on me, which is why I don't communicate with him as much. It doesn't make any sense. So I just don't know, like, I guess how to find that answer. Like, I guess I don't know who to look to or.
Right. I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, I don't think it could hurt for you to try to talk to your mom.
Right.
I mean, like, really, like more than just like in your prayers, but like really, kind of like I told Cook, like as you're kind of drifting off to sleep, like that's the best time to really like put that message out there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think that you might have a better chance of having a dream about her either that night or soon thereafter. So you can try that.
Now, do you meditate?
No, I don't. I mean, I've tried it a few times before, but it's not something that I do on a regular basis. No.
Okay. All right. I would say, I mean, you could speak with somebody like me or Marcus,
Mm-hmm.
and like we could intuitively communicate with you and tap into their spirit.
Okay.
And communicate and try to get answers for you.
Mm-hmm.
We could, I mean, because I don't know. I mean, that is definitely a way.
Right.
Because it may or may not be easy. Like you can set the intention, but you might not be at that place yet.
Right.
Hear and see clearly.
Right.
So you may or may not be there. You know what I mean? So I know Marcus can do it on purpose, but not everybody could do it on purpose. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Like I don't know that I could well, I probably could, but I don't know if I could lay down and be like, okay, tonight I want to hear this.
Right.
And I ain't sure that's gonna happen,
Right.
But it might, you know what I mean? But but that is a way, definitely to set the intention. You could also, one of the things that I do is I write in a journal, and I write what I want. And and another thing that I do is like I'm gonna write what I want before I pray or meditate, pray and stuff. I also I might light a candle for what I want, so if I want to open up the communication. I remember some years ago, it was a while ago, over 10 years ago, I used to feel like my intuition, like I wasn't solid with what I would hear, and so I used to say, can y'all please talk to me loudly and clearly? And I'd be like, God, if this ain't for me, can you like slam the door, like so that I know you talking to me? You know what I mean? You know, that little whisper. You like, was that just doubt? Like, what was that? You know what I mean? So, but what's funny is that I used to pray for that every day, because I would do these prayers with prayer candles every day. I would do these little candles every day. And every time I would start the prayer, I would anoint the candle with oil as I rubbed it in my hand, and I would be praying. And that was part of my prayer every day. God, can you talk to me? I would ask God and my ancestors, can you please talk to me loudly and clearly so that I know y'all are talking to me. And every day I would ask this. And now today, when I hear I hear loudly and clearly most of the time,
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know. But I mean, I was doing that for a good hot minute, you know,
Exactly.
because I was tired of the confusion. Like,
Right.
is that me? Is that you? You know,
Yeah.
who
Yep.
is it?
Yeah, for sure.
You know. So so you could set the intention that way and just pray about it. You know what? I really
Okay.
want to hear from my mom or whatever. But but you could ask somebody intuitively if because you might have wanted to know if what your stepdad was saying was really how your mother felt or something like
Right. Right. Right.
yeah, and I'm feeling no, and I'm feeling that he is hurt. I'm feeling they did
Wow.
have conversations. They may not have liked everything that you did, you know,
Right.
but in her heart,
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't like, I'm so disappointed with my son. It wasn't that at all. You know, she
Right.
didn't die feeling like that, you know, but I feel like he is not so, he's like negative about you for whatever reason
Yeah.
and he is taking his feelings of loss and other stuff too, not just that.
Mm-hmm.
You're easy for him to, you
Mm.
know, to take his crap out on you. So
Right.
you're
Right.
his
Wow. That's
footstool.
crazy because you don't even know me. That's why.
So
Oh my God.
Santa
Okay.
boy.
Wow. Wow.
So okay, so for both of you guys, okay, so I went to this place called Lilydale, and it's
Mm-hmm.
in New York. And it's this little town. And when I went, I didn't really know everything about what it was, but I heard that Lucille Ball grew up somewhere near there, and it was this town full of like intuitives and
Oh wow.
mediums and stuff like that, right? And so my girlfriend and I were talking about it because this one spiritual woman that we both used to go to, she was saying, "Oh, I just went to Lilydale and it was so wonderful. And I had this healing experience and da 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 da." And if you talk about healing, I want to go, right?
Mm-hmm.
But she never really quite explained what it was about. So when I got there, I was like, okay. So when I got there, we stayed at this little rank dank hotel, and then we drove to the place, and like it was a gate you had to get into. You had to pay a couple dollars for parking, and it was for real a little town. So we had houses all over the place. So we driving through, and there were awnings outside people's houses, and it was like medium this, medium that, so and so medium. I'm like, what the hell is this? I said, "Oh, they got up in here mediums." I was like,
What?
okay, I'm not sure I would have come if I'd have known that, but I had a wonderful experience. And
Mm-hmm.
okay, so they would have like all around, they had these different places outside where they would channel people. And then they had a big auditorium where they would channel people. So, and it's only open during the summertime. And
Okay.
so, and it only costs like $5 or $15, something little to get in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they would have these tree stumps in the woods with chairs and stuff set up. So you sit outside in the woods in different spots, and people who are honing their gifts, they go there for the summer months to practice. So that's their practice grounds. And then the people who are mediums, a lot of them live there. So all these houses, everybody in there is a medium. So I went and I was like, okay, so now what I want, who the hell I want to talk to? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Because I haven't had a whole lot of recent death in my family, and it really wasn't anybody I wanted to talk to. And so I had to really think about that. So the first day, nobody contacted me. I didn't know who the heck I wanted to talk to. So then the next day, I figured out who I wanted to talk to. And so I was like, okay, I want to talk to my great grandmother because she's with me. And
Mm.
so she's one of my ancestral spirit guides that has been with me since I was little. And I'll tell y'all that story later. How I used to go see her when I was little, and I didn't even know she was not she wasn't here. Okay. So anyway, so I went and we were in this tree stump in the woods, and I knew at this particular session she was gonna talk to me. I knew she was gonna talk to me, right? And so the whole time you're there, you're going from place to place, and they have medium sessions. They have other activities going on, but not a whole lot of other stuff. Okay. And so, but I think you guys should go, because I think that you may be able to hear from who you want to hear from, because I set the intention that night. I wrote it in my journal. I told her I wanted her to reach out to me or whatever. And then I kind of set it and forget it, but I felt like she was going to contact me. So I got in there and I'm sitting down, and the first person got up wasn't so good. And I was so glad she didn't contact me through that person. And then the next person that got up was on point. And so she goes, "You." And I was like, "Me?" And then she said, "There's a lady here," and she started describing her. But what the funny thing was, the way she described her and how she behaved and stuff, because I never met her, alive. And so the way she described her sounded like me. And so I think she was trying to tell me that she was like me. I was like her, you know what I mean? And it was just so interesting, but it was really a great experience. The readings don't last a whole long time, most of the time, unless the person had a whole lot to say to you. But see, I ain't had no questions or nothing, because I ain't never met her. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it was more for her to give me information. And then she knew that I was working on my business, and she gave me some pointers and stuff, and I was like, okay. So it was really interesting stuff that the lady would not have known, you know what I mean? Right. And so that was a wonderful experience. And then after that, she communicated with me even more. And so before that, somebody had told me that I remember walking into the store. It was like a Wicca type of store in Baltimore. And the lady used to be cold that ran the store. She didn't really have too much to say usually. So one day when we walked in the store, she was like, "Hi." And I was like, "Hi." Because she usually be all standoffish. So I was like, "Hi." And so
it's just a random lady that you don't know or didn't
no, she owned the store.
associate with.
No, she owned the store.
Okay.
So every time I go there, I see her, but she never was like friendly and all of that. So she said, "There's somebody with you that wants to communicate with you." And she said, "It's your great grandmother." And she said, "Do you know her?" And I was like, "No." And then, so she gave me some communication about my great grandmother. And then I went to Lilydale, and she talked to me through the medium. And then after that, she would show up in my reading. So if I'd have a spiritual reading with somebody, she would come to them and talk to them to talk to me. And so this would happen all the time. And I remember one lady, she did tarot cards, and she really wasn't all that good. She was good at laying out the cards. She was good at giving the information that she was hearing, but she was horrible at interpreting the information that she was hearing. So my grandmother told her, she said, "There's somebody here with us. It looks like your grandmother or something. Do you know who this is?" I said, because she kept showing up, right? And so then she said, "She's telling me to put the cards down because I'm not going to get it right." I thought I was going to die. Because I was like, damn, she must have been attending these sessions with me and her, because that chick don't get it right. But it was so funny. So you can set the intention that your loved one come to you, like if you're having an intuitive session with somebody or whatever, set the intention. You know what? I want to talk to so-and-so while I'm in this session, and pray about it and talk to them. Say, "Can you come talk to me through this person?" And they may come talk to you, you know what I mean? And then you could kind of use the mediumship experience to get that one-on-one communication. And then you could ask questions and stuff like that with a medium. But it does have to be a good one, because I mean, when I was at Lilydale, sitting there watching all them daggone mediums, they are there to practice and hone their skills. So
gotcha.
Wow, them are great. But I think you guys should go up there. It's really inexpensive. I mean, the drive was forever. I was like, damn. I thought it was like 4 hours. I think it took us about 6 to 8 hours to get to that joker, because I think it was
It's upstate New York.
upstate New York.
Yeah,
I was like, "Ooh, this drive is crazy. I don't think I do this one again."
Well, my
That might take me
in-laws don't live too far from. I wonder how far that is from my people, my in-laws, because
I don't think it's too far, right? I don't think it's too far from that part of PA, right? I
okay,
really
yeah,
don't.
because they're not too far from Buffalo. They like 2 hours from Buffalo and stuff like that. So
Oh Lord.
Right.
So I think you guys might enjoy being up there and
okay,
just go
Okay.
with the intention that you can communicate with who you want to communicate. And it is a little interesting. I mean, it was interesting.
I'm used to interesting. I've been
Lack
I've been
of
a
a
whole
better
lot part of a
term.
little tiny town.
Yeah. So it was interesting. So anyway, so that's that. Then they have this show called the AO. Have y'all seen that? Marcus turned me on to that show.
The AO.
The OA? What is it called? The Original Angel. The OA.
Original Angel. OA.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
OA. Have y'all
I
seen that?
didn't watch it. No.
Mm-mm.
Okay,
It was good.
interesting. That's pretty interesting. Kind of gets into the afterlife, and like I said, the people, whatever we want to call them, they have to put everything out there. So, I think that is real. You know what is going on that show. I think that is a real way to go to different dimensions.
Travel.
Yeah,
Right.
travel to another dimension. And then Marcus, remember we were talking to somebody. We were talking about 3D 40, and Stephanie said, "Well, maybe we will think that they're just dead." And now I'm just thinking of the AO. They think she just dead, right?
Right.
So in that perspective, she did look dead. So maybe if the people leave to go from 3D to 4D, maybe we gonna think they dead. You know what I mean? Or whoever is in 4D is going to think the 3D might have died, but they might have actually gone to a different dimension. I don't know. That's a whole nother conversation. But the OA is interesting.
Yes, it definitely is. Oh wait, check it out. It was on Netflix, right, Rory? I think it lasted 2 seasons, and then they canceled it. And I think they canceled it because it was too real. Like it was. I definitely feel that they were definitely disclosing stuff on that show that the bubblegum people, as we call them, didn't want people knowing. You know what I'm saying?
The what people?
The Illuminati.
Made up this name the bubblegum rapper people.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
The Illumidonkey, the Cabal.
Exactly.
All right. I'm learning some new language. Okay, I got
it. It up as we go along.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know. I did a spiritual bath like a month ago or a month ago. I don't know. It was a little while ago.
Why?
And I remember in my bath, I felt like the OA a little bit with the movements that they did. Like I was bringing the water in, like my body started taking over and doing something on its own. And I was like, okay. And I just let it do what it was doing because my intention was to release this thing that somebody had put on me. And so then my body took over. And I feel like that's what happened in the OA because they end up doing these movements. Like if you Google the OA flash mobs, you'll see the movements.
Oh, is that the dance, Mark, you showed me? That video you told me to look at where they was dancing?
Marcus just stepped away.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, all right. Yeah.
Marcus, did you show Shams the
My bad.
OA?
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
that was it, right?
The flash mob dance. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if this has anything to do with anything, but a bee just came flying at me, and I'm in my basement doing laundry, and I don't know where a bee would come from this time of year. It was just a bee. I literally shoot it into the washing machine, and now I don't see it anymore. I don't know where that bee went. It was just a bee that tried to attack me, and I can't find the bee no more.
Wow. Yeah. That is a little crazy. That is a little special right there.
Man, I'm gonna be looking for stuff around the house to seem a little bit out of the ordinary now, man.
So Marcus, what's that bee all about? Does that be a message?
I don't
know. Message? I don't know. That was weird though, because I don't know.
It's 42 degrees outside.
Exactly, right? I don't live nowhere warm.
What state are you in, Shams?
Huh?
What state are you in?
PA. I'm right outside of Philly.
Pennsylvania,
So
boy.
cold up there.
Yes, it is.
Exactly. So why is
Yeah.
there a bee in my basement?
Mm-hmm.
And where did it come from?
Mm-mm.
Why you don't see it no more? Mm-hmm.
That's the other problem. Because it flew right in the face. I'm not crazy.
Mm.
Because it landed in the washing machine, and I said, well, I'll just turn on the washing machine. And then y'all talking, and I'm like, why is there a bee in here? It wasn't even warm today.
Put it on spin cycle real quick.
Yeah, you know I did.
Hey.
I almost was gonna be.
Mm.
That shit was weird. Okay, whatever.
All right.
That was dope though. That was I appreciate. I mean, I'm sorry I stepped on late, but this is
That
some
was
good.
okay.
It's all good. It's all
Yeah.
good.
So Original Angels,
True
Sloan
Calling.
Bella,
True Calling
Impact
is.
the Gifted,
I really like True Calling, that series.
and True Calling.
Yeah, that was.
That sounds
Okay.
familiar. True.
Okay.
Is True Calling, Roy? Is that with Jennifer Love Hewitt?
I believe it
I
is.
think she was on one of those shows, and she could talk to spirits and stuff. I can't remember. She was on one of them joints.
Yeah, I think that's her. The only part that used to spook me out was when them jokers would come. Be like, damn, because like be a dead body, and all of a sudden, boom, they sitting up. Like, Lord, that part right there. That's kind of spooky. I ain't really wanting to do that. But anyway.
Okay.
Hey, Roy, remember when we was talking about going from 3D to 4D? Hold on. Yeah. All right, have a seat. Have a seat. You see I'm busy, right? Well, so I found out that like 3D to 4D, that's going from third density to fourth density. And so like not everybody will reach 4D, but for those who don't, like everybody will still be on the planet, but just the people that ascend to 4D, like all of their consciousness will just become super heightened, and like just through the force of like nature, like they'll separate from the people that are 3D. So just like if you ascend to 4D, but a lot of your friends and stuff don't, let's say, then just through the course of like nature, you guys will drift apart, and before you know it, everybody in your space will be 4D, and vice versa. And so like if you don't ascend and you still stay in 3D, then everybody in your space will be 3D. And so and so I was just watching a video on it last night. I'll find it again and send you guys the link. But the guy, he breaks it down real good as far as just like what exactly ascending is and why some people won't and some people will. And everybody.
What did I say when I was going off about what it is or what I was feeling? What I said. Do you remember?
I don't recall.
Okay.
I don't recall. I know that we had been talking about it the other day, though, talking about the guy like Corey Good and dimensions and all that. But that's a little bit different. So like
so it's dimensions and density are two different things, right?
Correct.
What is
Yes.
the word density?
Well, okay, so I was getting ready to go on. I'm a math teacher, so I'm thinking 3. So yeah, I was about to ask, what's the difference?
So so dimension is like time and place. So that's actually going to a different dimension. But density, you don't have to go anywhere, but it's like your consciousness breaks through the glass to the next level. And so you're still physically here, but your consciousness reaches the next level, which is 4D. So like when we're born into this realm, this earth, we're born in 3D. Most people always stay in 3D because their consciousness doesn't reach a certain height, and so they just stay at 3D. But apparently, when your consciousness reaches a certain height, it literally gets like bumped up to the next level, which is 4D. And at 4D, like I said, so like if you're already highly enlightened, highly conscious, spiritual, psychic, all those things, your connection to your higher self is like right there at the 4D level. So like you could literally talk to your higher self, Rorree, and it would be clear, no room for interpretation, that the response that you're hearing is from your higher self. You won't have to question, oh, who is this from? Like it'll be clear, because that's the type that's the closeness that you'll be. And so apparently, like with all this shift going on the planet right now, a lot of people will ascend to 4D because of all the energy that's on the planet. And I think they said like right now there's an abnormally large amount of people that are on the planet, period, because our consciousness chose to be on planet Earth at this time, so they can be part of this huge shift to help as many people ascend, because the more people ascend into 4D, then it raises the entire energy on the whole planet, and will like get us closer to how a lot of other planets are. And so because pretty much I heard every like alien being and all that, like none of them is at 3D. Like they're all 4D, 5D, stuff like that. So I'll finish looking into it, and I'll send you guys the link about that. But it was just good getting some clarity on the two, because I thought they were the same for a while until I started watching the video.
You said the boy name was Corey Good?
Yeah,
Okay.
Corey Good. Well, Corey Good talks about dimension, fourth dimension, and I'm on YouTube right now. I'm trying to get the other guy's name that was breaking down 4D.
Okay.
Yes, Mila. Hold on, baby. I'm on a call.
All right. So the guy's name who talks about ascension from 3D to 4D, he got a bunch of videos. His name is Aaron Doughty. Aaron is 2 A's, Aaron Doughty, Doughty.
I follow him.
Yeah, yeah. He's good. He's good. He breaks it down real good.
All right, give me a second. I gotta go check on Ethan real quick.
Yeah. Go do your thing. You got any questions, Shams, about anything, bro?
No, I don't have any questions right now.
Yeah.
Good job, Buddy Star.
What Mila over there doing, man?
She just poo-pooed and pee-pee in the podcast. Ooh,
Good job, Mila. Good job.
Good job.
Hey, calm down, you two. Don't start. Calm down.
Good job, love bug.
Okay, we are back. All right, go ahead, Marcus.
Okay. I'm trying to. All right, there we go. Just had to get my camera set up again. I was reading an article on the Space Force, and it was off of NPR's website. I think it was from December of 2019 or something like that. But it was basically talking about Trump when he launched the Space Force. And it was on December 21st. That's what the article was. And first of all, he passed the bill then for $738 billion for this force. $738 billion in funds to go towards the Space Force. But it's crazy because the article, it was kind of tricky, because it was talking about how they put all this money into the Space Force and how approximately 16,000 military and civilian people would be working on this Space Force. And then I'm trying to find his quote that he said, but he said space is the world's newest war fighting domain. So that was the first kind of thing. I said, whoa, like, and he actually said it, like, okay. All right. And so then, further on in the article, there was a guy named Todd Harrison who was the director of the aerospace project, and he says it's about all the different types of missions our military already does in space, just making sure that we're doing them more effectively and more efficiently. And so I had to like read it a couple times because he clearly says it's about what the military is already doing in space, not NASA, but clearly the military.
Right.
So then apparently, I'm not sure if like somebody got to him, but then he tried to backtrack and say, but the Space Force right now, it only deals with monitoring all of the satellites that are in space. Now, I'm not a rocket scientist, but I can't see you spending $738 billion and investing 16,000 human beings just to monitor some satellites. I mean, that doesn't make any sense to me. But and then they did go on to say, but if there ever was any type of space conflicts, that would be run by the U.S. Space Command. So the U.S. Space Command, that is the actual group that is in charge of space combat, they said. The U.S. Space Command.
I'm sorry, wait, rewind. If there was ever conflict, the U.S. Space Command would have, like, so they already got these people in place?
That's what it sounds like, brother. That's what it sounds like. They already got it in place, and I suspect that they've been in place.
Now, what movie or TV show does that sound like?
Star Wars. Paging all Han Solos.
Right. Exactly.
They've been building that since before Star Wars, probably. Okay.
Exactly.
We just found out right now. Soft disclosure, right?
right. Exactly. And so so I just found out to be real crazy that that he was that open with it, but then I don't know. I mean, all of a sudden they tried to backtrack a little bit because I think they realized they was putting too much out there too early. But so but it's also crazy because it's like, all right, so like where are they getting $738 billion from?
Oh, they just make money.
That's a whole lot of bread. That's a whole lot of bread just to go towards one branch. You know what I'm saying? Like,
they make up the money and we foot the bill. You ain't know that? That's all they do. They raise our taxes. They tell us that we're broke. They pay you minimum wage. They keep you poor. And then meanwhile, you got billionaires that live all around. You know,
right?
How people poor when you got all these billionaires? Like, you know,
right?
I talk about it all the time. Like, I live in an affluent neighborhood. Like, I got a nice little small townhouse, and then I'm not even exaggerating, at least 1,000 neighbors that live in $1 million homes, and that's just here. You know what I mean? You know what it is down Maryland. You know what it is up and down the East Coast or any coast. Wherever there's access to waterways is crazy expensive to live, and it's a lot of affluent people that live in them areas. And you have to ask yourself why. It's not just a coincidence. Like I always say, when you live near the water, you're able, just like they were shipping bodies back and forth when they was moving slaves, they still do the same thing with human trafficking, all the access to things that people don't pay attention to. If you live near the water, don't nobody see them ships coming in. Don't nobody pay attention to that stuff. We go down past the docks and we just see a bunch of containers. Don't nobody know what's really going on down there. They got some dude that's making $10 an hour that's supposed to manage all them containers and what comes and goes on the coast. Come on,
right.
And every day, every coast.
Like season 2 of The Wire.
Exactly.
For real. Season 2 of The Wire.
Yep.
Those guys make a lot of money. Those guys, the longshoremen, they make good money.
I bet they do.
They ain't making no $10 an hour.
Yeah, you're right about that.
They make serious. They make 6 figures, 100, 200, 300 to 500.
I guess that's how you keep people quiet.
Right. Wow.
Yeah, I wish I'd have been a longshoreman. I swear. I can move a big ass container. But anyway. That's what my new career is gonna be. We'll go apply tomorrow.
Right.
And you can't just apply, you gotta get referred. And a lot of times, like, and then you can will your position to your kids or family. Ain't that some stuff?
No.
That
So
long
wait.
stuff is not
If
easy to
you
get.
had the job for 30
Huh?
years and then you pass on or whatever, you can say, okay,
Yeah.
I want my young boy to take my
Huh?
position, and they just keep that money going.
No, I'll do
Right.
that.
It's like a network. Like you get your
That's wild.
family can get in. You can refer people, but it's not like no easy thing to get in. And slots don't open up all the time. They make serious ducats. But I know we all off topic right now. I was just commenting since you said they make $10 an hour. I was like, no.
Fair
Wow.
enough.
Oh boy. The anyway. So you
Yes,
guys.
Mila.
Mm.
Oh,
Good
Marcus.
job, Potty Star. Hold on, y'all. I can still hear you. I'm gonna just put you on mute.
Okay.
Right.
Um,
No, you
hey, Cook, have you ever heard of something called temporal warfare?
good. I've heard of the temporal lobe, but not temporal warfare.
Right. So apparently temporal warfare is the new form of warfare, combat that's been going
Hmm?
on that's been going on behind the scenes for a long time, and apparently humans have been late to the party, but they've been doing it now also.
Is that like what they do when they target people?
No. So like basically temporal warfare is fighting war over multiple timelines. And so it's a time war basically. And so and when
Break it down.
Shams comes back on, he can tell you about a show that used to be on NBC, ABC, whatever, but like they were doing that. But so basically it's like if you're a alien race, and let's say that is the year 2075, and they come to Earth and they say, oh man, Earth got all these minerals, all these resources, we want this, but we can't defeat Earth's military because their technology is better than ours. So what they can do is through temporal warfare, they can go back in time, they can jump timelines, and they can, let's say, go back to, I don't know, the 1800s, and they can interfere with Earth's history back in that time and do things that would slow Earth's development, so that by the time 2075 comes around, we haven't advanced as far as we did the first time, and it's easier for them to defeat us and take our resources. And so in a lot of ways, it's a literal time war. So you have different alien races that are jumping in and out of different races timelines, trying to manipulate them for their own benefit.
Now,
And
do
so
they create ripple effects when they do that? Like do they create maybe
I know what you're saying. It's like the butterfly effect. It's like butterfly effect. Right. And so they try to do as minimal or changes as possible to try to minimize that, but it still does kind of cause a ripple effect, or like branches off. But what they've been finding is, like with time, eventually everything snaps back where it should be. So even if you change something and it causes a butterfly effect, it might make that it might change something and take it off course for a time, but at some point that course will snap back and get back on track. It might take it an extra 100 years, extra 200 years even, but at some point it'll always come back to the end result of it. And so like another way that they explained it was, if you imagine time as like a rope, and the rope is full of small tiny ropes. That's what makes up the rope. And so the huge thick rope by itself, that is time right there. And all the very tiny individual ropes that make up the big rope, that's all of ours individual timelines. That's my timeline, Cook's timeline, Roy's timeline, Sham's timeline. They're all all of our timelines are independent of each other, but we're all intertwined all along, all inside the big rope. And so
Okay.
those timelines can branch off, and they do branch off every day based off of multiple decisions that we make every day. So
Right.
Cook.
Okay. So
And so this
I'm
morning,
right.
Cook.
I'm drawing this because I'm visual. But go ahead.
Okay. And so Cook. And so you got up this morning and or today after work and decided to put on that red T-shirt that you got on.
Mm-hmm.
And so once you did that, that decision branched off to another timeline. And so somewhere out there, there's a version of Cook that came home today after work and put on a different color shirt.
A green T-shirt.
Correct.
Okay.
It don't matter. So that every decision that we make, it causes another branch in the timeline. But just like with anything, if anything gets too far away from the source, eventually it'll just snap back because it's getting too far away from the original person or the original act. So that's why they say the time it'll keep on splintering off, but eventually it's going to always snap back to the proper timeline because it's going to get too far away from the origin.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so like they've I mean, ETs, humans, whatever, they've figured out how to navigate all these different timelines in space by using the cosmic web. And so the cosmic web apparently from what I've heard is like it's like literal like a map in space where they've figured out like where all the portals are, all the wormholes, black holes, whatever that you want to call it. And so not only have they been able to identify where all these wormholes are, but they're able to prior to going through it, they're able to figure out where in time is going to bring them out at. And so basically, like I said, and so they can punch it in. Okay. I want these set of coordinates, boom, boom, and it'll take them to the closest portal or the closest wormhole, and then they could go through it and pop out in a timeline that brings them back to 1700 or
Now,
back to
did you
whatever.
guys watch DC Legends of Tomorrow?
I have
I've seen
not.
that. I've seen that show. Yes.
Yeah, in DC Legends of Tomorrow, they have like they're a bunch of different superheroes from different shows, and they all come together, and they're the DC legend. They're the legends, and they go they are on this spaceship, and they go to different timelines to stop the people trying to mess with the timelines, right? And
Right. Yep.
right.
Yep.
So, but don't that sound something like what you talking about?
That's exactly what it is, Roy. That's that temporal warfare right there.
So these are the police, so to speak. They go on to stop them and try to minimize the damage to the timeline. And sometimes because of their own needs or desires or whatever, sometimes they create a ripple effect or whatever in the timeline. And then have to go back and fix it or something like that. Or sometimes they leave it because it only created minimal damage.
Right.
Like it's all in our face, DC Legends of Tomorrow. I don't know how many seasons they have, but it's still on,
Right.
And it's on the WB.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also on Netflix. The older ones are on Netflix, but I really like that show. But I mean, this to me, since it's always all in our face anyway, I bet you we could look at that show and take some notes, and that's probably what's happening.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because man, with what you were just saying, man, like it almost sounds like mathematics because
it is a lot of it is.
It sounds like this thing that I teach my kids. It's called if then. Like if you do this, then this will happen. So like with that whole timeline thing, it's like you can have a whole bunch of if then movements. So like if Cook wears a red shirt, then this will happen. But if Cook wears a green shirt, then this will happen. If Madden leaves work at 5:30, then this will happen. If Roy leaves work at 3:08, this will happen. And then it sounds like there's a whole bunch of different algorithms and equations that you can put together, but at the end of the day, like everything comes back to like to the center. Everything comes back to zero.
Right. Yep. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly. And so kind of using that, there's this technology, and Rorree knows about it. It's called Project what's the name? Project Looking Glass. And with that,
Looking Glass. I heard of that, John.
And with that, like they're able to see the future basically. And so like they can put all the different I don't know, like people or scenarios through the machine, so to speak, and they'll be able to see all the different outcomes. And then from that, they can better choose which one to do in order to get the result that they want.
That's a crazy ass algorithm, bro. That's crazy. That's all it is, the algorithm.
Right. And then like based off of that, it was I said all right, well, if Cook does this at age 21, this will ultimately lead him to becoming president of the U.S. in the future. So, I mean, and then they could base present day decisions because they already know what the outcome of it is going to be. And so it's definitely it's all connected. And even as far as the timelines go, even like, and this is just from what I've been like learning. This is just my opinion right here, but I think like how like multiple timelines lapse. I think that's kind of like when we feel like deja vu.
Okay.
I definitely agree with
that.
Or
the Mandela effect, even, or the Mandela effect. I think is when our own timelines overlap. So as a Cook, remember the same way I said that you picked a red shirt to put on today, but then there's another version of you out there putting on a green shirt. Everything else in your life with those two, green shirt Cook and red shirt Cook, is the same. Only difference is in one has on a red shirt. So if you have deja vu and you sitting there watching the Sixers game, talking to Madden, and like, damn, I had deja vu just now. I think it's a strong chance because the green shirt version of Cook is doing the exact same thing because nothing really changed other than, you know what I'm saying? And so like, I think that is what causes both deja vu and the Mandela effect, in my opinion.
I used to have deja vu a lot when I was young. I don't know that I have it as much now. I remember I was a little girl. I remember we lived in Riverdale. I lost my keys to the house. And I remember thinking, I feel like this happened before. And I feel like I went up here and I went over here and I looked behind there and I found and there was the keys. Like I retraced the steps that I thought I did. And the keys were they had fell behind the dresser. And I was like, what the heck was that? It was odd to me that we lost Cook. I guess he gonna plug back in.
Okay.
But yeah, wow, this is interesting with these timelines. Even how you describe the rope and then the outer rope. Wow, that's so interesting. Like, because remember, I think I was doing a reading with you or something, and I was saying, it felt like yesterday, and I was like, it was like 4 different ways. And I felt like I'll go this way. Right. Lifetime or in this moment time, but it was 4 ways that I saw.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I do. I remember that.
That's interesting. Definitely. So I wonder if there were 4 timelines, and on this timeline, y'all gonna do this. Maybe that's
most definitely. Wow. I really think that. Yes.
That is most interesting.
Definitely, man. So
that show I heard y'all. I was just like I said on mute. It's called Timeless, and they talked about, like, I think there was even an episode about the Mandela effect. And they even showed the show's called Timeless. They took it off the air, and I'm convinced they took it off the air because, like Mark said, like, and you guys always talk about, it's one of those things where it starts to divulge so much information that, if you pay attention to it, you start asking the questions, well, what's really preventing this from happening? Because, like, it's not like it's just like, oh, we invented a time machine. They had like guys that would play the scientist part, but it's just the way they explained it. Like even that rope thing, they literally did a diagram with the rope and like how the ants walking on the top of the rope and at the same time there's something going on beneath the rope. And it was and like I just heard you mention like the rope, and it just reminded me of that episode where it's like these are the type of things they were talking about, because I kept on telling Mark like, yo bro, you gotta watch the show, because me and my wife would sit down and just I was zoned out on it because it was remarkable. Like there was basically two people. It was like the evil and the good, and then it was the lines got crossed as far as like if the evil people were really that bad, and you know what the good people was quote unquote were really doing, which was trying to manipulate time for their benefit. And it's deep. It's a good show. Like I said, it was pretty decent acting, but they took it off the air because it was one of those things where you know too much information. And just on a side note, as we were all talking, I had to look it up. It's like the meaning of a bee sighting, and somehow I got to CaliforniaPsychics.com, and it says it's no secret that spirits often use the world's winged creatures as a message. Whether you have a connection to a particular bug or bird, one just arrives and insists on you noticing them. So the fact that
James, your volume went down. I'm sorry.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, you
All
good.
right, yeah. So and I'm like, well, and I was just telling Jathina like in passing, like what just happened. I'm like, I never met Rorree before.
I knew
like,
that, but I didn't think it was appropriate for us to go there.
Okay.
And I thought it too.
And I was just like,
too, Rorree. I thought it too, but I didn't want to say it. But yes, I thought it
yeah.
too.
So y'all know then, right? Like, like all this stuff came up about the symbolism of bees and spirituality, and how it's like I mean, right here it even say.
Yeah, my bad. My phone completely died, man.
It's all good. It's all good.
I almost got
wasn't
choked
even
up
paying
because
attention. The conversation was getting too good. I ain't even recognize my battery life.
It's all good.
Yeah, mine
Go ahead, Rod.
Too. And just the one part it says here, like the heart chakra healing. Got an aching heart, a little heart chakra healing may be the missing piece of your overall healing. Bee honeycombs are hexagonal in shape, like Cook was talking about the math part of it, similar to the shape of the heart. Therefore, a bee sighting is often associated with the heart chakra. The heart chakra is in the middle chakra of the 7 main chakras, and therefore holds the responsibility of balancing us between our bodies and mind. You can find I mean, you guys know all that, but it's just like, I'm like, yo, I just seen a bee, and I can't find the bee. And y'all, you just literally said it about my mom. Like,
and like, who were you talking about? Your mom.
Exactly. Like,
Yeah.
Come on, man. Come
I was
on.
trying to go there, but Marcus told me to be good tonight, so I ain't go
Oh,
there.
you keeping it a little light?
Come on, yo. Like, this is crazy. I'm almost in tears right now, yo. Like, this is
Yo.
You didn't even have to do nothing. You ain't had to write nothing down.
Right.
No, you didn't.
Intention before your meditation.
I literally asked you, and you talked about my family as if you knew them, and then right there comes a bee coming in my face while I'm doing laundry in the basement. It's 40 degrees outside. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yo, man. Everything is connected. Everything is connected, man. Everything is connected. You know what I mean? So she felt that, right?
Yep.
And she felt it, and you know what I mean? And she wanted to come through.
It literally came at my face almost like to smack me, like, boy, are you it came right at my face because I'm like, what is this? Wow.
Don't believe his simple ass. Don't believe him. That's what she
right.
Wow.
Exactly. Wow is right. Oh my God. Oh man. Wow.
That's awesome.
Yes, it
is.
is.
Awesome.
Wow. I keep on getting chills right now. Oh wow.
If you want to go in, Roy, I guess you can. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like I didn't want to go there on the first video, you know what I mean?
Let's
But
not go there because we've already done over an hour.
Oh yeah, true. That's true.
And
My
we
bad.
said we were gonna do an hour.
Right.
I didn't come on late, so I probably prolonged it. My bad.
Yeah, we paused a couple times, and then we started 8 minutes late, and we paused a few times. But
okay.
I just want to respect everybody's time because me and Marcus could stay on here all night. That is not good.
Definitely not.
All right, but anyway, do y'all want to what y'all want to do next? Because we can definitely do that, Shams. But
okay.
We can set the time just to do that.
Yeah, right.
So
I gotta get the young boy together because I just finished looking at that report card. I mean, it look all right, but me being a math teacher, I can't accept no C.
I
All
know
right.
that's
Nah,
right.
Me
I
You know
can
neither.
what I
dig it.
mean?
I can
Yeah.
dig it.
All right. Well, this was
We can
fun.
go ahead and shut it down. It was fun. It was very
No, this
fun.
is real good.
Yo,
This
we
is
gotta
oh,
do
man.
this again. Yo,
Yes.
this joint was live like that.
Yes. Yes.
Dig
Absolutely.
this joint. I
That's
dig this.
Unbelievable.
that's what's up. Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
still
but
looking to this day. I don't. It's crazy.
that thing probably gone, right? That
Yeah.
thing probably
Yeah.
gone, bro.
The
You know
big
what I'm saying?
stone. It was just a sign.
It definitely was.
That's it. That's
Oh
it.
my
It was a
goodness.
sign that she was fixed. Okay. Not her
Bless you.
communication. So there you
Oh my
go.
God. Wow. That's real.
Your answer.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right, exactly.
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 Your answer.
Answer. Okay.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Right. Now, next Thursday, I have a training with the company that I work with. So I can't do this next Thursday, but I could do it a different day. So I guess we can coordinate and see if y'all want to
I do think I have that. I think I got a football coaches meeting next Thursday too around this time. So
Okay.
we'll
I
definitely.
mean, we can maybe do Wednesday, maybe.
Yeah.
We can maybe do Wednesday because I think John said that he's off on Wednesdays. You know what I mean? So like maybe Wednesday. So let's do a tentative day of Wednesday around this time. And if something changes, then we can just go from there.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, do any of y'all want the recording of this? Do y'all want this recording?
Yeah. If you could send it to me, that'd be great.
Yeah, send that joint.
It takes a little bit to render, and then I'll shoot it to you guys.
Cool.
I'll actually save it on a YouTube file because that condenses it.
Gotcha.
All right, y'all. Well, this
Thank
was
you guys
fun.
so much. This was awesome.
I'll see y'all next time. So email Marcus or text Marcus what y'all want to talk about the next time. And if you want, James, if you want a session by yourself to just talk to let us know. We could do that.
Definitely will.
All right.
She on point, right? She ain't no joke, bro.
I know.
She ain't no joke, brother.
I do. I'm getting to take my season. Like, I'll be teasing all night, yo. This is crazy.
No doubt, man. Well, look, though. All right, fellas, man.
All right.
I appreciate y'all for getting on. And I'm see y'all next week, okay?
All right.
All right, sounds good.
All right,
Brother Shams, Brother Man, Sister Rorree, appreciate y'all, man. Enjoy y'all evening now.
Yep.
All right, you too.
All right, one.
Later.
Peace.